What's going on, everyone? It's SJG, and I'm rolling with Wali Pitt.
What up? What up?
And man, it's that time of the year again. It's
Yes, sir.
CIAA tournament time. Wally, it's like it's like if you're a basketball guy like me, tournament time is like the most wonderful time of the year. It's like just basketball, 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 and
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm over here doing the Birdman hand rub myself. I've been looking at the brackets and breaking everything down from that crazy last night we both had. So yeah, man, I'm ready to get it going on Tuesday.
yeah. So we've got CIAA tournament popping off on Tuesday. But before that, guys, you got to make sure that you have the HBCU Game Day Fire TV app. And if you don't have Fire TV, aka the Fire Stick, then we are also going to be broadcasting the SIAC Championship Tournament Championship on HBCUGameDay.com as well as
Yeah.
YouTube. So Tyler's going to be hanging down there in Alabama at the SIAC tournament. So no Tyler this year. Is a little bit different look for us, but
Yeah.
but
A great year too for us to be blessed to get that because it's a great year in the SIAC, especially at the top. I mean, not only are those teams good, but the 3-4 teams too pull an upset too. So
yeah.
Tyler's gonna have a good time down there in Birmingham.
All right, so Tyler's going to be down there in Birmingham having a good time in the SIAC, but right now we're talking about the CIAA, so let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and get my bracket first, and then Wally, you'll counter with yours, and at the end of the week, we'll see who was closest to being perfect.
Let's
So
do it.
we'll see. All right, so 4th and 5th seed on Tuesday evening, St. Aug, the 4th seed in the South, Chowan, 5th seed of the North. I saw both these teams in person. St. Aug got blown out by Johnson C. Smith in that game that you and I saw, and Chowan had they got a pretty good loss to Shaw early on. So, but I feel like St. Aug should win this game. You just did your Players Club on Quincy January. He's got something to prove. Trying to make it past the opening round and into the quarters. I don't think he's ever gotten past the quarters, so I'm sure he'll be trying to change that this year. So I'm gonna go with St. Aug. And then if St. Aug is the winner, they're gonna face Virginia State. Now here's the thing. Virginia State has the best record in the CIAA. They only lost 3 games all year. One of those games, the first one actually, was to St. Aug. And actually, if you go back last year, Virginia State was the best team in the CIAA again early on, and they lost to who? St. Aug. So it seems like St. Aug kind of has a little something on the sauce, Lonnie Blow, who's the coach at Virginia State, he used to coach at St. Aug's. Now it's been a while, a couple years, 3 or 4 years now, but they always seem to play pretty well against him. So I really want to go out on a limb and pick Virginia State and pick St. Aug, which I really kind of feel like it's not even out on a limb, but I'm going to go with Virginia State because I feel like Chowan's going to be a tough enough game, and it's the last game of the night on Monday, 9:50. So I'm going to give Virginia State the edge there. I'm going to give them the respect that they've earned just off the strength of winning so many games. Even though I'm chickening out this year. I'm going to play it safe. But so we'll advance them over. Now, usually for the CIAA, you don't get any days off, but the team who wins this game, whether it's Virginia State or whoever they play earlier, they don't have to play again until Friday. And so there's that. We'll hold on to that. But let's go down to Virginia Union and Winston-Salem State. So these two teams play early in the year. Winston-Salem State was another one of those games where they were in it until the end, and they just found a way to lose the game. And I don't see it not happening that way again. It's just been that kind of year for them. Virginia Union, not as strong as they've been in the past. They were last year. But I think that for once they do advance in the CIAA tournament. And so we're going to move them on to the next day. And we'll tell you who they'll play in a second. But we'll go back to and then we'll go back. Okay, actually, who they are going to play. This new bracket is really different for us. So Virginia Union wins my game, and then they go on to play Shaw on Thursday. Shaw is the 2nd seed in the South, and so they got a bye, and so they will play on Thursday. And I'm gonna go with Shaw. I've been on the Shaw train for a while. You can ask Talia that for sure. I think with Savon Goodman, D'Angelo Bell, and you got a chance to see him up close and personal twice, including Saturday night. So you know what they can do. So I'm not gonna. There are no upsets here. I see Shaw moving on. So that brings us to Shaw and Virginia State on Friday night. And so this is tough because I think these are my two teams that are the best teams in the CIAA. You know, Shaw lost that game to Johnson C. Smith early in the year and didn't score enough points on Saturday night, so they have to play Virginia State. They beat Virginia State early in the year. That's another team that beat them earlier in the year, and so Virginia State's one of those teams. It's hard to beat them twice. It's hard to beat them once, but I feel like Shaw has the talent. I feel like they have the bigs that can compete with them and, give them trouble defensively. And so I'm going to pick my upset. I'm going to pick Shaw over Virginia State. So I've got Shaw in the championship game.
I like it.
Yeah, I got the Bears. I got the Bears. I've been rolling with them. Got to keep rolling with them. And so let's go down to the bottom of the bracket, see who I got the Bears playing. So Lincoln and Fayetteville State. They're going to be the first men's game. They're going to tip things off at 6:40 p.m. on Tuesday night. I have seen Fayetteville State. I saw them in person against Winston-Salem State, another game they let slip away, and they were able to get that win. Fayetteville State, of course, last year we saw them make that run to the championship game for the first time since 1973. Fell a little bit short. Well, they're not going to have as long as a run as they did last year. I'm just going to say that right now. You can cancel that. I'm going to go with Lincoln. Lincoln is a team that, they have, struggled since, for the last couple of years. But I think that they have some enough talent to beat Fayetteville State for sure. And then that will earn them a game against the de facto home team in the CIAA North from the CIAA Southern Division, Johnson C. Smith. I don't see Lincoln beating Johnson C. Smith at all. I think with that backcourt that they have, and really impressed with Roderick Ross. I got a chance to see him really make some of those big layups that you're always getting a chance to see when you cover those guys down there against Winston-Salem State the other night. I really like him, and so I got Johnson C. Smith advancing, which should make Charlotte happy, which should make the CIAA happy because it's the home team. So hopefully that will entice more people to come. So we'll put them on the shelf for a minute because whoever wins that game is not going to play until Thursday. We go down to Livingstone, Elizabeth City State. This is an intriguing game. I saw Livingstone twice this year, including just the other night against Winston-Salem State. This Livingstone team is really young. They don't have any of the guys who were on those runs previously to win the tournament and play in the championship games. But Coach James Stinson always finds a way to win in this tournament. And I really saw a team that played on Saturday, played a lot more mature than they had previously, and they've got some athletes. They've got some tall guys, some guys height-wise that a Division I team, a MEAC team would like to have. Some 6'9", 6'8" guys, and they're not just out there being tall. They can actually play. So,
two freshmen, the two twin freshmen.
Yeah,
they're gonna be a problem in this tournament.
The Elmore, man, one of those kids, man, the guy threw him a live pass. He caught it and windmill dunked it. I have not seen. And of course I was down there chasing my cheerleader shot, and I didn't get a chance. So I blame it on the red team, Winston-Salem State. I was getting my cheerleader shot, 4-story, of course. But so I got it, but I didn't get it as good as I wanted to get it. But yeah, man, he's those are some athletes that they have down there. And so I think that they're a team that you don't really want to play. And so I'm going to give them advantage over Elizabeth City State, who's had a better year this year than they had the previous year. So so that brings us to Thursday. Again, I saw Livingstone and Bowie State play against each other early January. That was a close game. Livingstone picked up the win there. And even though Bowie is the 2 in the North, I think that Livingstone is the better team at this point. But Bowie's one of those teams. They always really start playing good this time of the year, and they had a nice win over ECSU the other day, and they have but they caught an L against Virginia State, which most teams in the CIAA are going to catch one with. So I like Livingstone. I'm on the Livingstone train a little bit right now. So I have Livingstone advancing, and so now I have them against Johnson C. Smith. Right, that right. Teams, they're located 30 45 minutes away from each other. They played the first football game HBCU together, and so one of them is going to the championship. And oh man, I knew so I had it written down Johnson C. Smith. And it would be great to see Coach Jordan to win one, but they have struggled to get to or past Friday night since I've been to the tournament. And Livingstone is a team that I'm really liking right now. I am gonna. All right, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna go out and
just pick Livingstone.
I'm gonna pick Livingstone.
Say it with your chest.
I'm gonna pick Livingstone. I'm dancing with Cinderella all the way to the championship game. I've got Livingstone over Johnson C. Smith. Yeah, I got them. I think their size can give them trouble. I think they got confidence in the last couple games with some big wins. And if the game is close, we saw the other week against Johnson C. Smith, and then I saw against Winston the other night. They got a couple guys who are not afraid to take the big shot. And so I'm gonna pick VSU versus Livingstone as my championship game. We had that back in 2016. Virginia State won. Oh, wait a minute. I picked Shaw, right? All right, so we got Shaw and Livingstone. This new record has to be like all torn up, like, because there's like spaces and jumps, skip, pass, go. So, but I am gonna roll with Shaw over Livingstone, and Shaw takes the championship. Shaw and Virginia State both get bids to the NCAA tournament, and we'll see what happens. So, all of that, Shaw Bears your CIAA champions. Wali.
Okay, I like it. We got some similar paths, and I wonder off the rip after hearing your picks. Are we disrespecting the North because we haven't seen them a lot? You've got kind of put Bowie and Union on the shelf, but I'm gonna get into my picks and we talk about that later. I'm gonna start St. Augustine Chowan. I'm a big Quincy January fan. I mean, that dude has a lot of skill, a lot of real leadership qualities. He's a Players Club guy, and just from shooting those, I'm a little bit attached to those guys. But I think for this first win, I think they will beat Chowan. And if this team gets hot, they could be scary. The next game in that same Tuesday opening round, I'm going to go with Lincoln over Fayetteville State. I'm going to pick Fayetteville State over Lincoln. This one's definitely a coin flip. Again, I haven't seen much of Lincoln. I haven't seen much of Fayetteville either. But I do know they still have Josh Bryant. And, they put together a run last year from a similar position. I want to say they were a 4 or a 5.
They just lost to Winston-Salem State, though, man. I mean...
Yeah, well, Winston's not playing well, but it's not like they don't have talent. So, I mean, you pick Livingstone to make a little run, and they barely beat Winston.
Okay,
so,
I got you.
You know what I mean? I will. Winston's record is what it is, but Winston's not a bad team. They just have lost a lot of games.
They figured, yeah.
Something's wrong, but I don't think they're just a wash out there. But moving on to let's do St. Aug and Virginia State. I really, just like you, I want to pick St. Aug. My heart is probably going to be with St. Aug. But, I mean, you look at what Virginia State's done this year. I mean, 13-3 in the conference, 9-1 in the division.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to disrespect that just because I haven't seen it. Again, maybe some Southern bias. I mean, Trojans, don't be mad at me. Y'all know I love y'all from football. But next year, if I can get up there, it might be different. But right now, I am going to respect their record, and I'm going to pick them to beat St. Aug as my pick.
Okay.
As the next game, move on to Union and Winston. And I just talked Winston up, but I do have them losing. They're just not closing right now. And Union actually has a really good team. Like, and they got one of those teams where they have a lot of good pieces, but maybe not that one guy who is just we're down 3 and we need to get these buckets, and you just go to them and get them. But I got Union beating Winston. Johnson C. Smith, Fayetteville State. I'm a big Smith guy again, but Johnson C. Smith's style of play is really going. They can press on you and trap you and get those oops and those quick buckets. I mean, they can be up quick, and they're essentially the home team playing well. I mean, they took a couple close losses, but I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going Smith over Fayetteville State there. Livingstone, Elizabeth City. I'm kind of right there with you on Livingstone. I do think they're going to beat Elizabeth City State. But, man, I like Livingstone. They're hot at the right time. They're young. Like you said, they got bigs. And it looks like they're coming to play right now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the quarterfinal. What's my next game? Shaw and Virginia Union. I'm a big Shaw fan. Shaw is like they're just the bullies. Like, they're big, like, they're aggressive. Like, I like Shaw. It's like 12 LeBron Jameses on that on that team, like, mentality-wise. But I'm going to pick them to beat Union. I think that's going to be a real good game because Union's got some size, too. And, Union starts knocking down shots and getting rebounds. You never know what can happen. But I am going to pick Shaw.
I want to say they beat them during the year, too. So, yeah.
Yeah, but again, is that the Southern bias?
No, I'm saying Union beat Shaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Union did beat Shaw. Yeah, that should be a good one.
Yeah, but I am going to pick Shaw, but I'm going to put a star by that one. If that one goes down, that'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah.
Livingstone and Bowie. Again, I feel like this is a hard decision. And for me, DeLon and Nick Tucker have been blessing us with Bowie footage. And I like Wells and some other guys on that team, but I'm gonna ride the Livingstone train with you. I feel like they're hot right now. Again, they're gonna have a nice crowd, and that's usually like Livingstone. I mean, Smith is in Charlotte, but like they will come.
Oh, they'll pull up. They'll pull up with signs. They got chants.
Yeah, So I'm gonna go Livingstone on that one on Thursday. So now to my semifinals. I got VSU and Shaw, and I got Smith and Livingstone. I'm going to go VSU over Shaw.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to go against my heart there because I do like Shaw, but I mean, again, Virginia State's record, like, it is what it is for a reason. And what has been a really competitive conference, top to bottom. There's not a ton separating a lot of these teams. And for you to have the record that you have, I'm going to respect that. I'm going Virginia State over Shaw. Smith and Livingstone, just a game that I know both of us want to see. Every time they go at it, especially in the 704, it's all the way live. I'm going to go Smith over Livingstone, just off experience. I mean, Robert Davis, like, if he's knocking down shots and Smith plays defense, I'm not sure who's really just going to flat out beat him. So, especially not a rival, and I think they really want the ship this year. So I'm going Smith. My final is Smith and Virginia State, and I'm going to go Smith. Again, I'm waffling back and forth between my heart and my head.
It's no heart, man. It's head. It's head.
I'm back and forth. It's which one is sending the strongest signal. And I think Smith can do it. If they had continued their win streak past the 9 games and hadn't caught a couple losses, I would honestly be a little more skeptical. But I mean,
since they lost some, now you feel good about it.
But you're gonna lose.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of the name of the game, and especially like if you look at, they had to play Shaw. Like the percentages are gonna put you, like, let's say we gotta face a really good team 2 times.
Right.
Well, chances are I ain't gonna beat them twice.
Right.
So you get the L out of the way when it's not as important. And with a great coach, a loss is a lot of times a great teaching moment. Like, especially when you're dealing with young kids, like, you're on an 11-12 game win streak, like, you might be worried about how lit you are more than what the task at hand is. So, like, you catch a couple L's, you come back down to earth, and you get coached. And you happen to have 2 great coaches on your sideline. So, I'm going with the Charlotte Miracle. I'm going Smith pulling it out. Robert Davis, and I will probably
who's your MVP?
That's what I was just saying. Man, I want to say Robert Davis. It's gonna be one of them two. I'm gonna put it that way. It's gonna be one of the players.
Cool. Come on, man. Go ahead. Jump out, man. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Say it with my chest?
Yes.
I really want to say Christian, just because Christian is going to score and he's going to get assists. And if he scores, he gives you 14 and 5 or 6, like that to me is an MVP over, a strong 18 or 19 a game that Rob Davis is going to get. But Robert Davis could go for 23, 24, and he's just that type of dude. So I'm gonna say with my chest, Christian Kirchman MVP.
Okay.
He's gonna have young Kirch out there with the trophy. So,
okay.
That's my tournament. I'm sticking to it. I apologize to the North, because I feel like we disrespected them. But hey, click like, share, so we can get this money, so we can be in Virginia next year.
I'm gonna be in my defense. No, I did see. I saw Union. I saw Bowie State. I saw Chowan against Shaw. So I saw pretty much everybody except for VSU and Lincoln and Elizabeth City. So I saw like half of this. So I saw like half of them. So
I only saw Union
against
Smith, and it was in a snow makeup game, and it was a good game, but I mean, it was just one of those.
Let's get it over with.
5 o'clock, yeah.
Right.
It was just one of those games, especially being a makeup game. It ended up being close, but still.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with my MVP. I'm gonna go with D'Angelo Stevens-Bell, since I picked Shaw to win. I'm going with D-Lo, aka put you on a poster, aka I'm gonna dunk on you while your mama watching, aka all of that stuff. I think that and right now we're before the award, so you can never really predict who's going to get all CIAA, but he's the second leading scorer in the conference. He can do everything. He can rebound. He can pass the ball. He's a dog on defense.
He's just got that Russell Westbrook in him. He's like, move out of the way. And one thing I saw in their final game against Smith, he was coaching on the sideline.
Right.
Like when he was out.
Did he foul out?
They were slugging. No, I mean, he just, was taken out of the game, taking a breather.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he was on the sideline calling plays. I mean, I didn't put it in the fast break, but I got this one shot where it looks like you can see the coach in the back and you can see D-Lo right there telling him what to do. So, I mean, he's just a real smart dude on the court. He motivates his guys, and like I said, like, he will yam in your face. Like, so, yeah.
And we didn't practice. And we didn't talk about this, but who do you think is one guy that you saw this year that you think is ready to have an explosive tournament? Like, they might not win tournament MVP, but it might be somebody that really when the bright lights comes on, that you think is really gonna be out there and shine. Because I got a couple guys that I'm thinking of that I think they could really could do some things. Because we haven't talked about him. We didn't talk about him a lot, and I know I picked against Bowie State, but we saw last year Ahmad Wilson. He didn't get all CIAA, but he came out there and had some really big games for them, throughout his career. Even his year before, where they lost the first game, but he hit some big shots. Is there any guy that you've seen this year in the CIAA that you think that people should be on the lookout for? Maybe that we haven't really talked about. One of those guys. I know you mentioned the rookies from Livingstone.
Yeah, and the sophomore from Livingstone who hit the game-winning shot, Roger Ray. He's definitely a young guy who, I mean, he can take the reins, and that's really what Livingstone is looking for, is somebody to take the reins. And it seems like the past few games, that's what he's been doing. But I mean, I do think D'Angelo Stevens-Bell is gonna have a really good tournament just off of his demeanor. Savon Goodman too. I mean, we don't know what he's going to be like in tournament basketball. He's been playing well, one of the best players in the conference. But, I mean, have we even seen him go into beast mode yet?
Right.
We don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I want to say Quincy January too, because he seems like really hungry. Like he told me to his face, like, nah, like I'm winning this shit this year. And I was like, okay, word. I believe you.
Yeah, I'd like to see that happen. He's a guy that I've been able to see him all had some really good performances. I know last year, what was that first game in the Bojangles? They were was it Lincoln maybe they were playing? I think it was maybe it was Lincoln or maybe Fayetteville State. He had a really dominant game and they just kind of fizzled out, and then so yeah, he would be one of those guys, because the thing about the tournament that I love for the CIAA is all year these players get to play in these real crowded gyms, and which makes for a great atmosphere and things like that. But when they play in these arenas, especially when they get downtown to Spectrum, they get a chance to really feel like basketball royalty, getting to play under the bright lights, and for some players, like Ahmad Wilson last year, Ty Newman for a couple of years there for Livingstone, Mayo, Bazemore, some guys that we've come to know, they really have, just played some great games in the Spectrum, Time Warner / Bobcats Arena, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it would be great to see January, because again, I don't know. I mean, they beat Virginia State a couple times, but I just couldn't pick them and be like, well, and then they lose to Chowan, because they very well could lose to Chowan, because Chowan beat Smith. They hung with Shaw for a little while. They're not a bad team. They've got some players too. They've got a couple of players that are lengthy, real long long arms and things like that. So yes.
Yeah, we picked the chalk, but I mean, there's not really the difference I saw, between winning and losing in the CIAA this year wasn't a lack of talent, a gap in talent. It was really coaching and making the right play at the right time to get the lead and hitting those free throws, you know what I mean? So really, once the ball is tipped, like, anything can happen. And like, just like you said, I would not be surprised to see one of these teams. I mean, a part of me wants to say Winston might sneak and win a game, because Cologne is still Cologne, and Willie Crandell is still Willie Crandell. So. Yeah,
I mean, Winston, I've seen them play. I think maybe they've seen them play 9, 10 times. And I think they're 3-7 when I see them play. And it's always the same story with them when they lose. It's like, they win. They're winning. They're up. And then they go to like a spell, usually somewhere between 8 and 5 minute mark of the second half, where they just fall apart. And the other team either gets back and takes control of the game, or like Saturday. I mean, Saturday they had the lead, and with less than a minute to go, and just things just didn't bounce their way. And so I mean, they very well. I mean, I'm looking at them. I mean, they're a 6 seed and Virginia Union is a 3 seed, but I saw those two teams play back in December, and Virginia Union was lucky to get out with the win. So you got that. I mean, hey, they mess around and win that game, then they got Shaw, and Shaw is a team that the first time they played them, they beat them pretty well. The second time they played them, I saw that game, and Winston, that was, again, one of those games where Winston was ahead of the pack, and then they just went on this little dry spell, and Savon Goodman came back, and that's all she wrote. And then, and then there's Virginia State. They lost to Virginia State by 4 points. It was a close loss as well. So, I mean, they have the talent to play on Friday in the semifinals and possibly make it to Saturday. But it's just watching them. It just seems like it's almost like they're snake bitten. Like every time, like, that mental hurdle of getting over that. Can they do that? And then try to win, one night, then 2 nights, then 3 nights, then 4. That would probably be this would probably be one of the biggest, the CIAA tournament's been going on for over 70 years. This would probably be one of the biggest upsets ever. I don't think, a team could have struggled the way that they have all year and then come out and win. But hey, I think Bowie State won last year with maybe they had like 10, 11 wins coming into the tournament. So
yeah, they were struggling coming into the tournament. They just put it all together. So and I'm curious to see about that little layoff day because I understand rest, but I'm of the school of thought, especially 18 to 24 or whatever. You want to keep people playing,
right?
That momentum. I feel like that happened last year, where it's Fayetteville and Bowie, they had a rhythm when they came in to play. What was it, St. Aug and Livingstone, or I know.
Fayetteville beat Virginia State. So Virginia State beat Winston the first night, but then by the time they played.
No, I'm thinking of the Virginia Union game in the Spectrum Center.
Oh, right.
When Bowie beat Virginia Union.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? It really just seemed like, they had that bounce.
They
played a game, they were in rhythm, and like these dudes aren't going to get tired. Like, I'm sorry, you're dealing with prime conditioned athletes in there,
right.
Like, these dudes can play 6 straight days. Yeah, would they be a little tired? Of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you mean to tell me they throw the ball in the air there, it ain't Vince Carter ain't out there.
Yeah, because Bowie State last year, they played their first game. They played a game on Tuesday night that didn't end until 11:45. It might have actually been Wednesday morning when the game was over. Or Thursday morning when the game was over, and then they just kept winning. So I think really now I have seen it where a team, I think it was Johnson C. Smith one year, I think they had to play, I think they might have been the team that played one of those first games, and then they got to the semis against Winston. I want to say this must have been 2014, 2015. Yeah, they got to one of those nights, and they got to Friday, and then the wheels fell off because I think it was 4 nights in a row for them. But I think if you get a team, I think those Thursday and Friday games are really going to be a time where the people who have already gotten the rhythm are going to have the advantage, and the other team is going to have to ratchet up. I think that's where they could come in. So
yeah, for sure, it's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait for it. I know we've been working our tails off trying to put everything together for all tournaments, but man, just as a fan, like, can't wait.
Yeah. So at the end of it, it's all fun. All our brackets could be up in smoke by Thursday, but that's the fun of tournament play. So you never really know. They'll probably end up looking like the Soul Train scramble board at the end of the day. But it's always great. So we'll see what happens in this one. So you guys make sure you tune in to HBCU Game Day for all of our coverage of the men's and women's tournaments, because we got a great women's tournament coming up as well. Virginia Union versus the Field. Can they do it? We'll see if they can make it happen this year. But make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure that you have already subscribed to HBCU Game Day's YouTube channel. And if you got the Fire Stick, if you got the Fire TV, go ahead and light that sucker up. Starting on Monday for the CIAA Tournament, which is going to be going on the entire time while we're in Charlotte. So,
shameless plug, go watch the Players Club.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to watch the Players Club. It's safe for work.
Our athletes up on the court. It's great to go to the parties, be at the Ritz-Carlton doing the Plies dance. That's love. I love all of that. But I mean, it's a basketball tournament. These dudes are the next. They are the next greats, and we got to turn them up. So, I mean, go watch the Players Club, click like, show these dudes some love.
It's safe for work, Players Club. It's not the other Players Club that can get you in trouble if you watch it.
It's the ball Players Club. I wanted to do players only, but they got me. They beat me to that at NBA TV. So it's the Players Club,
right? So that Players Club, you're not gonna get in trouble with your wife, nothing like that. So kids, you can watch it, all of that good stuff. It's rated G. So definitely, again, it's all about supporting athletes, supporting HBCU. So definitely come out to the Spectrum Center. Also, we're gonna have a mixer at VGBG's. Get my Diddy plug on. Again, It's going to be, some of the games are going to be going on, but we'll definitely be checking in on the scores and everything as well. Just want to get a chance to mix and meet our fans, because a lot of times when everybody's going to the games, we're out there working and don't really get a chance to meet and interact with folks, to let them know that I'm real, Wali, you're real. And we just enjoy talking about HBCUs and HBCU sports. So you guys can go to our Facebook page at RSVP and get your early bird tickets for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to some basketball, ball above all.
Yes, sir.
Wrap it up. Keep it away if you're not supposed to be putting it out. All of that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big Godfather fan. So it's leave the gun, bring the cannoli. Let's leave the gun at home when you come to see how this year. We'll edit that out. But yeah, it's all love.